What's up, everybody? Welcome in to the Dev Insight. I'm Aggro, going to be your host today, and we've got something a little bit different for you guys. We're going to be going into the differences between Dev Insights and update shows a little bit later on, but don't worry, we're going to have a great show for you here today, including a new balance segment that I think you guys are really going to like. But first, some news. This weekend, make sure you're playing quite a bit. All gods are free this weekend, and 3 first wins of the day gets you a free Enigma chest, so definitely a good look there. So on this Dev Update show, we've got a lot of different things we're going to be going over. We've got some updates on crossplay and progression, some Dev Insights with the SMITE design team. That's kind of where we got the name for the show. Some community news, and of course, some super cool skins. You just got a little preview. And let's go over those one more time very quickly before we get into the Dev Insight. First up, Gadget Goblin Cupid is the first one that you saw. I cannot wait to see the skin's effects because my man is looking mischievous right now. I love it. Star Commander Bologna also going to be featured on this Dev Insight show. Looking really awesome there. Super cool skin. Deadly Desire G, part of a new Valentine's chest, I do believe. And then Archangel Chernobog, the one that I'm personally most excited about. My man's is looking clean, and he's going blonde. And you know what? It's a good look for him. I'm not gonna argue with him. Definitely the right call to dye the hair there for Chernobog, if you ask me. But as I mentioned, we've got a lot of different updates that we want to get to. So for that, on the Dev Insight show, we've got a Dev Update, because that's how this is going to work. We've got AJ and Isaiah sitting with me. What's up, guys? How you doing today?
Doing good, man. How about you?
Can't complain. AJ, you feeling better? I know you were not feeling a little under the weather.
I've still got a bit of a cold, but glad to be here. I was so stoked about this new type of balance discussion we're going to have today. So this is the first one. I really wanted to make sure I made it on the show. So.
Way to pull through, man.
If the cold meds kick in and I start falling asleep, just bump me, all right, Isaiah?
All right.
Yeah, we'll be okay. So as I mentioned, there's a bit of a difference between these Dev Insights and the update shows, and that kind of goes hand in hand with our new patch cycle. So AJ, can you explain a little bit about that?
Exactly. So we're going to be slowing down patches in Season 6. We're going to be taking a month between patches. We're going to be still releasing content throughout the month. So just because you have to wait till patch day doesn't mean you have to wait for new stuff. So you'll still have new stuff coming out. But this has a lot of major upsides, right? One, we can just take our time on things a little bit more. So what that's going to hopefully mean, less bugs, better quality, and the biggest thing, simultaneously shipping every single patch on all 4 platforms at the same day.
Right. I am super stoked for that.
For the entire year, we plan to do that.
Okay.
And this extra time is really going to be important for that, making sure we get all of our proper QA and certification processes done. And that's what gives us the ability to launch those all at the same time. So really exciting. It's going to be really healthy for the development team and for our production schedule. And it should be really healthy for the game as well.
Awesome. So you will be getting more content, not less content, I should say. You're going to be getting the same amount of content throughout the patch.
Right.
It might just be released at different times during that, but every update will be once a month.
Right. And we still might do hot fixes if there's anything emergencies in between. So this doesn't mean that it might take a longer time for something like that. We'll still do a hot fix if we need to. One thing that it does mean is it's going to slow balance down a little bit. Generally, we do a balance patch every patch. So patches a little less often. That means a little less balance or a little less often balance.
Right.
We still might reserve the hot fix if we have an extreme scenario. But this is going to have a couple other advantages, pros and cons depending on how you view it. I think it's going to be overall positive, but we'll get more data for each patch and take time to evaluate the data and make decisions towards the next patch. We're also going to be, it's also going to be less hectic changes for you people who don't really like having to read through every single patch notes every single 2 weeks. It's like, That's a lot of change for some people. It's a lot of things happening and it's a lot to keep up with. So this will be a little bit easier for people to understand the meta and for people to fall into their comfort zones before they make changes.
Okay.
And one thing we want to do to address this, since we're going to be slowing down balance, we want to up the transparency. And that's why we're bringing on the new balance segment today, where me and Ponpon are going to go over the results of a previous balance patch, show the whole community how the gods' popularity and win percentage and performance actually changed based on the changes from the balance, and talk about whether we thought it met our goals or whether it was successful or unsuccessful, and use that as a way to make sure everybody understands why we want to do balance and why we're making the decisions we are, and help inform us in the future.
Awesome. And it'll also let the meta kind of develop a little bit more. I mean, 2 weeks usually isn't enough time for a whole set of new changes to really take hold, right? So I think that more data will definitely be very helpful in that regard. Isaiah, AJ did talk there about with the change in cycle and all that kind of stuff. It's really about making sure all the platforms are getting the update at the exact same time. And that's such a big deal because of this cross progression that we're implementing.
Exactly. Yeah. So season 6 launches next week, February 11th. Super excited for that.
Wait.
And with
Let's
that
go.
comes full cross-play and cross-progression for PC, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. And we've got a lot of questions. People are super excited. So we wanted to take just a little bit of time to just let you know what's going to kind of come with that and let you guys know how to get prepared for when cross-play and cross-progression goes live. So actually starting right now, players can prepare for cross-progression by going to my.highriskstudios.com. That's our account management page. They can log into their account and link their accounts right there on that page. As soon as you log in, there's a button on the left-hand side that says link accounts, and then that's going to show any possible platform that you can link your Hi-Res account to. And once you're linked, you're good to go. Linked accounts will automatically be merged when Season 6 launches next week.
Awesome. Seems nice and easy. What about my gems? I've got a ton of gems over on PC, but I'm kind of waiting on the gem fund for my Xbox account. Isaiah. First of all, kind of waiting on you, but what's the deal with that?
So yeah, when accounts are merged, all your gems are going to be kind of placed into one bucket, but there's kind of a separation into that bucket. There are your gems that you own on your PC and Nintendo Switch accounts in one separation of that bucket, and then your gems that you owned on your Xbox account in another separation. So all of the gems that you owned on your Xbox account will be able to be used in on each individual platform. So if you earned 200 gems on Xbox, you'll be able to use those gems on Xbox, PC, and Nintendo Switch.
Okay.
But the gems that you own on your PC and Nintendo Switch accounts are only going to be able to be used on PC and Nintendo Switch.
Okay, but let's say I purchase something with gems that I earned on my PC account. That skin will still be available on the Xbox account, correct?
Yes. All purchased owned content will be available for play on each individual platform once your accounts are merged.
It's a little confusing sounding until you just bring back the whole goal of cross progression, which once you're merged, once you're linked, it doesn't matter where you buy something or where you obtain something, you'll have it on all your accounts.
Exactly.
Right.
So if you're seeing your gem totals don't quite look the same on two different platforms, that is intended. We have to follow some regulations and how that works. But you buy something with either of them and you'll have it on all the rest anyway. So it doesn't really matter in the end.
Right. Not a big deal overall. What about the chests that are on my account? How are that going to work?
Yeah, so we've been seeing a lot of people asking about, hey, I own like all of these chests that aren't opened yet. I kind of want to save them for when cross progression goes live. So all of your unopened chests are going to be merged together. Nothing's going to be auto rolled for you or taken away.
Right.
All of your chests will stay on your merged account unopened.
Perfect. Nice and easy there. On the topic of chests, the FP and triumphant chests, we've been talking a little bit about those. Can you go into a bit more detail there?
So FP chests and mixer chests and things like that you've gotten in the past, those will have a lot of things converted to battle points, battle pass. So if you get boosters, you get battle boosters, battle point boosters, or just points. So if you've been holding on to some of those, you can open those to get a jump start on the battle pass, or you can continue to save them. But I believe that's the only change that's going to happen as far as those chests go. Also, triumphant chests. So we're adjusting that system in Battle Pass. And what this is doing is actually we're kind of we're going to only 2 chests that we're supporting.
Okay.
So the chests that you're getting in the Battle Pass are going to be a little better than last year's chests, and they're going to be the champions and the hero. But if you're holding any triumphant, the lowest, or godlike, the highest, you can continue to hold those for all you want, but the contents of those aren't going to be updated.
Okay.
So I'd recommend you open them, see what you get. Maybe you get that Big Head Cupid, that's a tough one to get.
Yes.
But Big Head Cupid will also be available in the Battle Pass chests. So there's a lot of contents changed in the new ones through the Battle Pass. But the old ones will stay the same, and you can open them whenever you like.
Okay, nice and easy there. So again, if you have the triumphant or godlike chests, probably want to open those now because those will be discontinued starting at 6.1. But the middle 2, champion and hero, those are going to be integrated into the battle.
And they're going to be made better. So I guess if you're holding on to some of those, you could get a little boost by
hold on to it until
holding
season
them.
6
Because we changed them in place. I'm pretty sure they're not like clone chests. They might be actually, but
who knows? Yeah, I'm good.
Either
with
way,
that.
most of that stuff, it's staying around the same. So you
Right.
can choose if you want to open it now or later, but it's your choice.
Nice and easy. What about keyboard and mouse support for console? What's the status of that?
So this is something is actually, it sounds simple, but it's a really complicated feature, which, that's kind of a theme of things I'm up here talking about half the time. Sorry. But when we want to make this full support, we have to think about chat on consoles and
Oh, that's true.
changing your VGS input and all that. And even our HUDs are completely different based on whether you're using a controller or a keyboard and mouse. And we want to be able to support this inversely on PC as well. And then we have crossplay and cross progression, specifically crossplay. What do we do when you're playing on keyboard and mouse on a console?
Right,
So all of
for
these
ranked,
things,
where based on your input.
So all of these things were taking some time. So we do plan to support full multi controls on PC as well as consoles, as well with all these other features. So you'll be able to even in the future plug in a keyboard and mouse to your console, play in the keyboard and mouse only queue. So you're pretty much like playing PC only.
Right.
If you wanted to, if you didn't want to turn off crossplay, which I wouldn't recommend, but if you want to.
Sure.
So all of those things are like the extra things that we really want to make sure all work together before we launch. So that's something we are planning for later this year, but it's going to be a few months.
Cool. A little bit closer to mid-season is where we anticipate that.
right. Something like that.
Being ready. And then for Smite on Nintendo Switch, free-to-play is coming pretty soon here, Isaiah.
Right, that's right. So we made a huge milestone for the company last month in bringing Smite to our fourth platform. We've all been talking about in the office, being on PC, Xbox One, and PS4 is awesome, but like we all grew up being Nintendo gamers. It's just something about being on a Nintendo console it's like magical, right?
It really is. It really is.
So we're super excited to announce that free-to-play on Nintendo Switch will be coming on February 19th. So we are super
That's
excited.
soon.
Yeah, that is really
That's
soon.
a lot faster than was expected.
So we're super excited to welcome a whole new community of gamers into the battleground of the gods. Be sure if you guys want that limited Dragon Empress Scylla skin, it is only available in the Nintendo Switch Founders Pack.
That's right.
That Founders Pack will be going away when Smite goes free to play on February 19th.
Okay.
So be sure to pick up that Founders Pack. It's an amazing deal. You get the limited Dragon Empress Scylla skin, exclusive Dashing Deceiver Loki, of course the Ultimate God Pack.
Of course.
And then 400 gems. Like it is like one of the best deals that we've ever done.
It's
yeah.
a great deal. Got to get in on that, and you get a little bit more. You get your opportunity to get comfortable with the Pro Controller, with your.
It feels so good on the Pro
Joy-Cons.
Controller, actually. I
know.
love it.
I'm a huge Pro Controller stan. It feels really, really
it's
good.
amazing.
I will say it's excellent stuff. We're really excited about that, guys. If you haven't seen it, Smite on Nintendo Switch is a ton of fun. You can play it on a bus or a rooftop or whatever.
right.
In fact, we've got some footage of that right now. Team up, play God. Smite on Nintendo Switch. For a limited time, unlock the closed beta and exclusive loot with the Founders Pack. Welcome back, everybody. We switched out Isaiah. We got Pon here with us on the casual set. And as AJ kind of alluded to earlier, this is going to be the big draw, hopefully, of the Dev Insight, is the bigger
It's
balanced
pretty exciting here
discussion.
what we're going to do today. We'll
I
see.
think
We'll see
this is
how
awesome.
people react to it.
Yeah, I think people are really going to like it. So what are some of the goals that we want from this effort of transparency around balance? Kind of set the stage for us.
So two things we're going to be looking at. First is likely upcoming changes. So we want to take this time to be a little more transparent about things we're already working on or things we're heavily looking at to start working on for the next patch.
Okay.
Just so people can start that, bringing up that more in discussions, we can get more feedback on it, and so we can make decisions as we see more data come in.
Okay.
So let's do that first.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking at the past. So we're going to go look and see how did balance changes actually affect the game. So those are the two main things you're going to see in this segment. So previews and reviews.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. Nice and easy.
So first, let's start with the previews.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get to it.
So, we don't have any 6.1 data yet,
Right.
but we've had a lot of feedback. We've had a lot of PTS testing. So we have a little bit of data, I guess.
Sure.
But I like the numbers to be a lot higher before we're real comfortable. So wanted to talk about a couple things that have been discussed a lot
Yes.
and how we're planning on addressing them. So first thing, right? Warriors.
Yes.
This is a big discussion, and obviously a lot of 6.1 was adjusted to bring Warriors back. They were kind of dominated by Guardians in the last solo lane last season, so we're going to keep looking at this. We want to make sure we see Guardians Blessing and Warriors Blessing on an even plane. We want to make sure we see Guardians and warriors on an even plane, maybe even a little more warriors at the start of the year.
Yes. And we have a lot of changes going into that. We have the solo lane objective, warriors mostly buff, just general meta shifts that can happen. So we'll see how that pans out first and then look forward towards that.
And we want to make it clear that if we don't see the desired results from
Yes.
what we already have in 6.1, we'll be open to pushing that a little further in 6.2.
Sure. So that's a goal, is to put warriors more prominently in the solo lane so far at the early part of season 6. It also says here that you're looking at mage performance. What not nerfs, right, guys? Like,
Maybe a little bit, actually, Aggro. I'm
Okay.
sorry. Yeah. So we've had a lot of discussion about mages and their ability to get really ahead in the game and deal large portions of damage at all stages of the game. Some of this might be related to their itemization. We did make some pretty big changes to mage itemization in 6.1.
Yep.
But we've heard a lot of pro feedback and PTS feedback that that might not quite get us to the right spot.
Sure.
So I guess really where this discussion started was the duo lane. Conquest is so interconnected.
Yes.
So people were talking about duo lane and how it felt like you could really get behind or punished, and mage and jungler would rotate over and annihilate you. And it's hard to think of how to make changes to that without affecting the whole map.
Right.
And really what seemed like the clearest way to do it was to not necessarily try to buff the duo lane, but to keep an eye on mid and jungle and see if they are overperforming a little bit too much in the early game. So
Okay.
that give the duo lane some chance to use their duo lane powers to get to work together, level up a few times safely,
Gotcha.
get that ADC to a point where you're going to be able to play, and then rotate in for team fights. So really what we were starting looking at was the duo lane, and what that kind of resulted in was adjustments possibly in the downward direction on mages and assassins.
Gotcha. Okay,
Which
so
perfectly leads to the next one.
yeah, exactly. That's what I was just about to go to, Pon. You're doing my
did
job
they
for me.
plan
The early game jungler nerfs is something that you guys are looking very closely
No,
at.
this is already in progress.
Oh, in
so now
progress,
those
okay.
are the two things we're looking at. These next two things are already, work has already begun on them for 6.2.
Okay, so those are, we could say, likely to happen.
Very,
or,
very likely that we will
but
be.
these next few points are happening. They're already.
I mean,
in,
I
in
suppose
work.
6.1 could be do some very unexpected things.
Sure.
And we might back out on this.
Sure.
But right now we already are testing and have implemented some early game jungle nerfs.
Okay. So again, focused on making sure the duo lane can be a little bit more safe from those early jungler rotations.
Pawn, you want to give a little more insight on this without
Yeah, of
going
course.
into all the numbers,
Yes.
which are still in progress?
It's
Right,
still
of
work in
course.
progress. So essentially what we were looking at is speed buff's ability for junglers to both rotate and cover the map really effectively, but also lose very little opportunity. When they do decide to go gank, they can go get farm very quickly. When they do gank, they're able to keep up with targets more effectively than people that don't have boots yet, because
That's a main point.
specifically
Yes.
level 2 ganks, I'm sure everyone who's playing ranked right now, level 2
scary.
ganks are the thing that happen.
They sure do.
So part of that is because of the speed you get from speed buff. So we're looking at that, and we're also looking at the spike that Assassin's Blessing provides when it fully evolves. And if you're the jungler that gets it to evolve first versus the other one, the power difference is massive. So we're looking at adjustments to target both those things. One is the very, very early, which is the movement or the ability for speed buff, as well as the evolution part of when that happens, that power shift.
Okay. Excellent. And we're also seeing another thing that's in development for 6.2 is some Freya adjustments.
Yes, yeah, we are already started and made a lot of progress on Freya. We made a lot of changes a couple patches ago. That had a very interesting result. The goddess is, I think, getting there.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we are going to be specifically looking at one ability and trying to bring down its burst potential. We're going to try to reward Freya by doing another slight rework of one ability to reward Freya for hitting multiple ranged basic attacks in a row, or melee basic attacks in a row.
Sure. Okay. So I'm not going to get bursted from Banish. That ability does too much damage.
We
to me
are
all the
hoping
time.
that the burst potential will be decreased again.
Yes.
But that her overall DPS will remain about the same, supposed that she continues to hit shots.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
So already in progress for 6.2.
Okay, so that's the preview of what we've done. Now let's go to what we're going to do. Let's do the review of what we've already
Right,
done.
which I've called
Yes.
God Balance Progress Reports in the past.
Wow,
So
that really rolls off the tongue.
I guess so.
Right.
If you're still in school, you remember progress reports,
Of
right?
course.
It's
So
a report
now-
card.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
report
this is our
card.
report card,
So this is the
exactly.
report card for the balance team. Let's
Okay.
see if we got any A's. No, I didn't give them in grades like that, but maybe I should do that
Yeah,
next
maybe
time.
you should. So let's talk about the grading scale. Let's go over the syllabus real quick and
Sure.
how this is all
Yes.
going to work.
So there's a little bit of context we need here because people have always asked us to share stats. It's something we
Yes.
really like to do, but it's difficult because you need a lot of context. You can't just like slap up one table and say, "Yep, that's how balance works." No,
Right.
we do a lot of different adjustments to look at how gods perform in certain situations, certain modes, certain skill levels, damage versus healing, kill death ratio, things like that. It's hard to just show that all at a glance.
Sure.
But I'm going to attempt to do it anyway today.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, we're going to try.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do here today is we're going to look at all platforms averaged together, platinum plus only players.
Okay, so higher level players.
Yeah, higher level players for conquest only, and a combined ranked conquest and normal conquest.
Okay.
We actually do get a lot of really high skill normal conquest mode
Sure.
games, so it's important to review those as well as ranked.
Yeah.
So we're going to look at the stats specifically from that. I want to let it be known that we do always, every patch, look at the other modes as well.
Sure.
We look mostly there for outliers or extreme cases.
Yes.
We look there to make sure we didn't make any big mistakes in balance. We don't necessarily look there for specific changes to be made.
Yeah.
But we
I-
always take a look at it.
Do you think it's fair to say that we balance around Conquest without completely ignoring all the other modes?
I mean, it's more like we start with Conquest, and then the other modes kind of have to agree with the Conquest change before it goes
Yeah.
through. They're
Sure.
both very important.
And I think you can see that with what we've done with like Opwash and Zeus, where we've even talked about this on our Passionate show, where like this is a concern that we have that we're changing this character in this way that might have negative consequences to other modes. That's the kind of stuff that we consider.
Sure. Okay, fair enough.
So what we're going to do here is we're going to look at gods before and after their change for completed patches. So 523 is completed now. We're on 524.
Right.
We're going to look at those because there's no new data coming in. We're going to look at 522 versus 523.
Okay, so
I'm going to
a
have
little
the
bit
gods
further back.
ranked in order. So 1 being the best, that'd be the most popular or the most winningest god, and 99, soon to be 100, being the lowest popularity or lowest win rate.
Okay.
So we're going to look at the before and the after for both of those numbers, and we're going to evaluate how we change the god, and we're going to break it down into three ways. One is perception, and I've been pushing this more and more with the team. How is the community perceiving the change?
Right.
Just because it's a statistically correct change doesn't mean it's a good change.
Sure.
People think it doesn't feel good, or they don't know what it's addressing. We want to make sure we get good perception. So that's why we're going to be looking at play count for popularity, as well as ban rate for frustration, and player feedback, patch approval, and pro feedback.
Yep.
Then we're going to be looking at the reality, as I like to call it, perception versus reality. The reality is the hard stats. This is win rate. And then, of course, context of win rate, so specifically where, which mode, which skill level, and KDA or damage dealt. And then finally, we're going to look at our goals. Did this meet the design team's goals? Did we decrease player frustration? Did we keep core themes and gameplay the same? Those are two general goals we strive for in every balance change.
Yep.
Sure.
Attempt to reduce frustration, attempt to balance the god without changing their core theming or core gameplay. So we're going to go through each god that got a change in 523, and we're going to see how we did.
Okay, so again,
go.
just to reiterate, we're only going to be doing this for gods that have had changes where their patches are completed. So this is 5.23. So it's not the most recent patch that you're playing on, it's the patch before that.
Right, but a lot of
Yes.
this data carried right over. These
Of course.
gods haven't had another change.
We just
so-
don't want the numbers changing. These are solidified numbers during
Right.
that
These are
time
so you
period.
could, if you hear that we say one god's overpowered now, you can go play them more, but it's not going to change this report. It will change possibly the 524 report. Though.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so number one god that got changed in the 5.23 update was Opwash. We decreased the slow duration on Undead Surge from 3 seconds to 2 seconds. Wow,
face
that
is
is
terrifying.
close up.
really close. Yeah.
Ah, Posh.
And in Empty the Crypts, we decreased the duration from 6 seconds to 5 seconds. So lowered some duration on some of his more potent abilities. Let's go with the rundown. The perception, players are still asking for Opwash nerfs after this, right?
We got a lot of commentary on the 6-1 notes, like, why no more off-watch nerfs? Like, a lot of that. And we were kind of surprised about that because we nerfed him, we thought, pretty heavily. But, it seems we did understand that these changes weren't necessarily like the most popular suggestions. People were suggesting more extreme rules changes to how his ultimate works and things like that.
Right.
We went for some more subtle changes, which we were pretty sure would do the trick. But it seems like the community didn't really believe the balance team on that one. So not the best perception.
Okay.
But
What about the
let's look at-
reality, though?
The reality, on the other hand, was very effective.
Yeah.
So in 522, he was the 29th, top 29 god.
Okay, so we had the 29th best win percentage.
Correct. And after the nerf, he went down to number 75.
That's a lot.
Minus 46
Yes.
gods.
So he moved down half the
Ooh,
cast.
that is a big nerf.
Yeah.
I know. And so we were really surprised. Everyone's like, why no more Opwatch nerfs? We're like, we just nerfed him half the God roster.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a lot.
And that's in Conquest only now. He is very strong in other game modes. So
Sure.
we had to be aware of that. He did go down in other game modes, although not as much.
Okay.
And I'm not going to share that exact data here just for the sake of too many numbers. But he did go down, but not as much. But yeah, minus 46. That's a big change.
That is a big change.
So then you've seen his popularity. He went from 78 down to 96. So he wasn't even all that popular in Conquest to begin with.
No, but then he ended up as one of the least popular.
Minus
in
18,
selections.
not a huge change, but when you're at the bottom, you don't have far to go, right?
Right.
So overall, this was a very impactful nerf.
Yes.
I would count this as a success. We saw that Opwatch is insanely strong in other game modes and has been forever. And then we saw him actually be good at the world stage Conquest pro level.
Yes.
a lot of success at once.
Yes. So
Yes.
that means he merited a solid nerf.
Yeah.
So we managed to successfully nerf Opwatch without changing his core functionality, without changing the core rules of how his ultimate functions or his combos. We didn't want Opwatch players to feel completely different or worse. We just did a couple tweaks to duration and damage to help him feel a little more playable against.
Sure.
And it seems like we were pretty successful in that regard. The perception, not the most successful.
Yeah, the perception's a bit different. People are still again asking for more Opwatch nerfs. So while we did statistically nerf him, and people are feeling that in his reduced popularity, there are still the high level frustration concerns that players have. They're still feeling those frustration concerns, and so that's where the changes missed the mark.
So maybe team could have done better there. Maybe we could have done, instead of 2 changes that were small, we could have done 1 that felt bigger,
Sure.
and made more clearly the balanced perception and reality. But
Yeah.
in the end, it seems like it was the good thing to do, the right thing for the character.
It also goes to show that like things like slow duration, like it's still 2 seconds feels like you're slowing them for quite a long time, but that 1 second reduction in slow does have a big impact. The 1 second off
huge.
the ultimate has a big impact.
Yeah. I mean, move down half the roster. So, yeah,
Right.
huge impact there. Okay, Guan Yu also got a change going into 5.23. Conviction, that's his heal. Boosted the heal, increased from 1.5x to 1.7x. So, this is when he has his passive fully stacked up. It now does a little bit more. What was the perception of this change?
So again, this is a kind of similar story as Opwatch. A lot of people didn't seem to perceive this as a meaningful change. I would say there was not much discussion about it.
Yeah, there wasn't much discussion about Guan Yu as a whole. There wasn't much discussion about this change. They're like, oh, cool.
In fact, we've seen multiple posts about how to just make Guan Yu better, completely unrelated to this change. Just since then, people maybe who weren't even referring to the change or just thinking of Guan as a character now, even playing in post change, still like, how do we make this god better?
Right.
So again, the perception was a little light on here, but again, let's take a look at what really happened.
Yeah, let's do it. So his
So-
win percentage looks to have done pretty well.
He was top 38 in 522, and in 523, top 9.
Wow.
That's a plus 29 god jump for this small healing increase.
Yep, healing increases matter.
And that's towards the top end, which, like I said, that can be harder to move at that point. So
Right.
Staying alive is a good thing.
Yeah, so he
this was a big buff.
almost middle of the pack, 30, a little bit higher than middle of the pack at 38th in win percentage. Now he's in the top 10.
Yeah.
9th in win
It's
percentage.
a big buff. However, his popularity from in 522, number 89,
Okay.
to 523, number 82, just 7. Just
So not
7
much.
gods. Still at the very bottom 80.
Yo, but those,
Or,
but
bottom
those,
20.
the players that are playing him, they're winning a lot
They
more.
are
yeah.
winning a lot more.
So good for those people, I
So
guess,
you
right?
know, a little bit part of this segment is go play Guan Yu.
Right.
As we can tell you now.
You'll win more than you used to because
he
he's doing well.
did get quite a significant buff. Maybe he still struggles in certain matchups. Maybe you want to be careful how you pick him in ranked based on your opponent.
Sure.
In blind pick and normal conquest, maybe he overperforms there. But remember checking the stats we do check the stats separately as well as combined. I combine them for the sake of this, but we look at ranked versus normal
course.
separately all the time. And he was performing very well in both
Yeah.
regards.
Yeah.
So again, I would count this one as a minor success where we did what was needed to be done, but people didn't really believe us.
Right.
It's kind of a tough thing for the balance
Yeah.
team to kind of make a change that the magnitude of the perception and the reality are equal. That's generally what we would aim for. Neither of these changes did we really get there.
Sure.
Yeah, and for Guan Yu, which we've seen have kind of that high volatility, where like when we did increase the heal before, we knew that he spiked up really high.
Oh yeah, he was the best warrior in the game for months, right?
When there's more dramatic shifts that might feel more impactful to the community, those can potentially push them even further than a change like this, which can be dangerous.
Right. We don't want to shove Guan Yu down your throat, right? Like you have to play him, and he's the only warrior you can play.
At 2.2 times heal, he pretty much was. You
He
remember
was,
that?
yes,
So
of
we
course.
brought it down a little bit, and he fell really far. And that's why we went for that middle ground here. looks like it worked out well.
Seems to be in a pretty good spot. Play more Guan Yu. Here's your infomercial.
Give him a shot.
Yeah, give him a shot.
Speaking of things being played more.
Yeah,
Next
play
one.
more Hades. Hades got a pretty big change going to 5.23. A couple increases base movement speed from 355 to 365, and we increased the protections on his ultimate Pillar of Agony. It used to be 60 to 100. Now it was 60 to 160.
It's a lot of protections.
160, and you get those on each. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of protections.
It is. So this one was, the perception was a little bit marred by a already popular topic to discuss on Hades, which was the ability to give him damage mitigations.
Yes.
We knew that this was going to hurt his perception. But mathematician Pon and the balance team did a lot of specific work to realize what's going to benefit Hades the most at the optimal build we think for Hades is, which is generally a little more aggressive with only a slight bit of tanky items.
Sure.
So true mitigations are better for tanks because the protections are already there. The mitigations stack on top of that. You really take no damage.
Right.
When you're really squishy, the mitigations, you're taking so much damage doesn't necessarily help that much. Protections ramp up real fast, to explain it in a really
that's like the super base
simplest
form.
way.
There's also people wanting the true mitigations because that also ignores penetration, building penetration.
Right.
But there's some counterplay that kind of needs to exist there with certain abilities. Penetration being able to apply to this adds some counterplay opportunity. But we did know it was going to hurt perception when we did protections instead of true mitigation.
A common statement was, oh, this does nothing because I just buy more penetration. But you having to change your build, to build more things around it, just to do more damage to him only during his ultimate, stuff like that, that has an effect.
Of course it does, yeah.
And so we see here in our stats changes, we saw pretty great results on both regards. He went from, in 522, number 11 winningest god, so top 11, so already very strong.
So he was already one of the best gods
But
in
people
the
just
game.
perceived him as the worst god in the game, so we wanted to take a shot at it anyway to make him feel better. He went all the way up to number 2.
So in 5.23, Hades, like that Hades, the one you're thinking
in
of.
Platinum Plus.
In Platinum Plus, high level games, it's not
Conquest.
like he's stomping noobs all the time.
Right.
Was the second winningest god in the game.
Yep.
That is crazy.
So he went up by +9. So it was a pretty big impact.
Especially when you're
you know,
that high.
a lot of that could have been from the movement speed.
Yeah, that's true.
It could be just from the movement speed. That was a big change as well.
Yes, I definitely felt that.
But even more interesting here is the popularity, which we thought the perception would be bad because a lot of people wanted something else, but a lot of people still went
Gave
and
him a
tried
shot.
out Hades instead. Big popularity push.
Yeah.
Plus 40 gods from 77 up to 37. Like generally a 77th god we'd consider pretty unpopular.
Sure.
And then top 30, top 40 we consider pretty popular. So that's a big change. So, you know, even though there was a lot of discussion and debate over the hard math and the specific details of this, it had great results in both perception and reality.
Yeah, so this feels like of the changes we've talked about so far in matching both the number success in win rate and popularity. This feels like it was one of the more successful
maybe give the
ones.
balance team an A on this one, although
Okay.
depending on if you really wanted mitigations.
Right.
Whereas the other two might have been Bs because people didn't quite feel what we were doing. But
Sure.
And I also think it's important to note that that means a lot of people who aren't necessarily familiar with Hades tried him out too, and they were seeing success. So it wasn't just people who really liked Hades were doing really well with him. It's also a whole bunch of new people came in that wouldn't have normally played before are playing him and doing pretty well.
A good point there. Top 37. A lot of people will look at these unpopular gods, say, "Oh, only Hades mains play that," or "Oh, that's why they're better." When you're the top 40 god in the game, a lot of people are playing that. You cannot discount that fact by just saying it's only Diamond Hades players. The crazy Hades counts for all the stats. No, you can't say that.
Right, and we've seen
this
changes.
is everybody trying the god.
You have seen changes. I remember you telling me at one point that where you make a change and it makes the god way more popular, but the win rate sometimes suffers, even if it was a small buff, just because so many of these players that don't normally play that god are not quite as familiar.
Mainly
with
when
that
they're the
sort of
difficult
thing.
gods.
Right. So to have already a really, really high win rate, have that many more people start playing him, and he still goes to number 2, really goes to show how good he is.
The main point we try to make is that we get a lot of games in our data.
Yes.
So it's very hard to just discount the performance based on play count because we have thousands and thousands of tens of thousands of hundreds, depending on how long the patch goes, on this god alone. So it's generally pretty reliable.
Right, exactly. Okay, this is going to be one that should be fun.
Whoo, yeah.
Vamana.
This is a big one.
Have you seen him in your games, perchance? Because if you have, it's because of these changes that he got in 5.23. Colossal Fury, that's where all the changes were. He got a stacking health shield. It changed his heal to tick every 0.2 seconds instead of 1 second. Decreased the heal protect to match the same amount. And you could pass through players and player-made walls during your ultimate. He was a ghostly big baby. So perception was a lot. There was a lot
Yep.
of people talking about this.
People
one.
were very positive to this. People were like, wow, this is exactly what he needed. Vamana was really suffering. Thank you for doing this. I think the reaction was quite positive.
Yeah, it was super positive.
I don't think very many people said, oh, you're overdoing it, which maybe they should have said as we get to the data here.
Yeah.
I don't think that many people said that right up front when this change was announced before it went live.
Yes.
Once people started playing it now, let's take a look at the data. It's pretty impactful change. He went from
That's fair.
58 popularity up to 14.
Oh,
Oh, no,
no,
wait,
win
sorry,
rate.
that's the win rate. He went from
Yeah.
58 win rate up to 14, 44 places on win rate.
That's a lot of that's a lot of places.
Yeah, that's a big climb.
Yeah.
That's
Very-
a big
very
climb.
quickly.
But wait, there's more. In
Next stat.
popularity, he went from 93, so one of the least popular gods in the game, to 12.
Yeah, I think I've seen more Vamanas in my game in the last 2 weeks than I have in the rest of the year.
Statistically
before that.
speaking, that's that's probably exactly true. You
Yeah.
could have even said 2 weeks versus 2 years.
Yeah.
It's then that much. And you multiply that by all of our numbers of players, that's a lot of more matches you've been seeing. And plus 81 spots he jumped up
That's incredible.
in popularity.
A huge amount. People like winning.
Insane.
Did you guys know people liked winning in Smite? That's
Now,
so weird.
keep in mind, this is Conquest only.
Yeah,
This was not nearly the case in non-Conquest, especially in popularity.
gotcha.
His popularity in non-Conquest did not jump up as much.
Okay.
And I can go grab those numbers later if we really need to get into it. But we found that in looking at this that Conquest primarily react much more heavily to balance changes.
Sure.
A god gets buffed, whether it's a meaningful buff or not, a lot more Conquest players are going to start playing them.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Joust, Arena, Clash players are mostly going to stick to what they like already.
Right.
And they're not going to change their habits heavily. But they do. There was definitely an increase.
Sure.
Just not to this magnitude.
Yes.
And it was in both win and popularity. There was an increase, just not to this magnitude.
That doesn't surprise me too much. Conquest being the competitive mode, people probably are a little bit more competitive that like to play
Well,
Conquest
generally,
a lot.
balance is focused around that as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
all in all, this was pretty successful, I think, from the balance team. We really wanted to bring some life back to this god. We
Yep.
did it. Possible risk, we might have overdone it.
Yeah, so that might be something we have to revisit in the future, especially if he becomes frustrating to players. But overall, for this specific example, it was
So
successful.
one thing I remember checking as well for him, we double checked his ban rate increase as over 523 and 524 even.
Had he been banned 10 times throughout the rest of the year before this?
It was increasing, but not crazy high increasing. So that
Really?
means we're going to look again in 6-1, and if his ban rate continues to climb, that'll show us frustration has been created. He's too strong. We'll bring him back down.
Sure.
But a really interesting thing to see is when you buff these gods, they get really huge jumps in performance, but ban rate is really where we measure the perception and frustration.
Sure.
So if
Yeah.
you get big performance jumps but not much ban rate increase, generally that means it's okay.
Yeah.
Like I don't think more people are banning Guan, even though he jumped
No,
way up.
I don't think so
No
either.
chance.
Right.
But
Or
Vamana,
Hades.
but Vamana, it actually did start to climb. So we're going to keep an eye on that. It didn't climb to alarming amounts, but it was rising.
Yes,
so
I
we're going to
imagine-
keep an eye on that. And 6-2, it might be likely to bring that back down a bit.
Yeah, once we get the final 5.24 numbers and 6.1 numbers, I imagine that ban rate will be a little bit higher than what we saw in 5.23. Okay, let's talk about the Cucullin change.
Last one.
He got a change to Spear of Mortal Pain / Warcry, decreased the cooldown of his ultimate from 100 seconds down to 90 seconds, and added some documentation that Warcry is a 35-second cooldown.
So that was
a
just
huge change.
that was not really a change.
Massive.
That was intentional.
Right.
But the 10-second cooldown on the ult.
Yes.
This is an interesting one because players, I think. How do you think players perceive these changes, Pon?
So I think in general, the ultimate is on such a long cooldown already that when you change that by like 10 seconds, it feels very impactful because your ability to use it once per fight or twice per fight is altered. Just the dynamic of how team fights go when you're rushing Fire Giant, it feels like it's gonna be a big change. That's why global ultimates are on a longer cooldown, but that's not exactly what actually happens.
Well, what I would say as a success point for the balance team, people have still really burned into their brains that Cucullin is strong because
Right.
he launched very strong. He had a very strong pro performance, but he's actually dropped quite a bit as we're going to go look into the stats here. But so we wanted
Yeah.
to give him an impactful change, but not one that felt too impactful. That was our
Okay.
goal. We did not really reach that goal though, because as you can see in his win rate changes,
He didn't move.
he's bottom 96. That's pretty low. And he stayed exactly there.
Yeah,
he didn't
there-
change.
There's only 99 gods at this point.
So, this is a
96
high skill
isn't
cap
great.
god, which is okay for him to be towards the bottom. We still know this god has potential to be very strong when played well. we didn't quite get there.
Yeah, didn't quite get there on
And
the
by
win percentage.
zero is never really a number we want to see from a balance change, right? We'd rather see.
That
I mean, I
did-
guess like a downward shift from a buff or something silly might scare us more, but
Yeah.
this was
Pretty close.
actually nothing happened.
Wow, and it didn't really help the popularity at all either.
We
Plus
sometimes
one on popularity?
I think that's what it was. What
Yeah,
was
so
it? 57 up
popularity-
to 56. So.
If popularity had risen here, people did perceive the change to be meaningful. That would have been largely a success on our end, where we didn't increase the frustration of the character, but people felt like he was in a better spot.
Sure.
And he was like people could actually feel like they could use him a bit more effectively, but that didn't move.
So I considered this one unsuccessful from the balance team. He didn't really do much. People didn't really perceive it as meaningful. Sometimes we do like to do these very light touches because they can have big reactions sometimes. And as we found in things like duration of a CC or a duration of a damaging effect, like in Opwatch's case, this can happen. But it seems in ultimate cooldown specifically, ultimate cooldown is not a very impactful change. You hold your ultimate while it's active, right, usable more than any other ability.
Sure, of course.
Generally, you fire all your abilities a lot, but you hold your ultimate for a fight, and you don't
Right.
fire it early. So making that a little faster, that downtime, you're still waiting for the next fight, the next situation to occur. The cooldown's not necessarily forcing that.
Yeah.
And we figured there might be more use cases where you would use it more kind of reactively to build your rage up.
Yeah,
And
especially
so we
because you can
figured
just spam this on a wave for like a berserk, right?
And so we figured that might have more of an impact than we traditionally see on ultimate changes, but still, even in this case where there is that alternate use case, not much of an adjustment.
So some side notes about Cucullin. He is a difficult to balance god. He
Yes.
has a lot of things going on. Like I said, even when he was really perceivably powerful, when he was first launched and first pick in Pro League, his win rate was towards the bottom of the pack. I'd say 70th, something like that, 50, in between
Sure.
that range, 50 to 70 bottom gods. But that is okay for a high skill cap god. That's actually that's the proper place for a high skill cap god to live.
Okay.
Because when they're at the top, that's when everybody is just
They're just
mad.
getting dominated.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
So we did want to bump him up a little bit because 96, that might alarm you in some cases, but don't worry. We still know this type of god, that's the type of thing we expect.
And it's all on a curve as well. It's not like his win rate is 3, and you never
Yeah.
win with him.
Right,
It's all
and
on a curve.
Right, it's all on a curve, and all the gods are pretty close. Like number 1 to number 99 is about 10%, right? It's like 55 to 45.
Sure.
We don't give numbers here because out of context they make no sense.
Right.
So we like to see how you can compare them to the rest of the squad. Everything
Much
is about
easier to do.
comparison. So, that's the thing. 2 things take away on this one. Cucullin is pretty difficult to balance, and small ultimate cooldown changes, unless it's maybe global.
Yeah.
Or really initiate it, even that. We'll go back and look at some more data to see. Or when we plan on doing this in the future, we'll see again, right? But it really seems to be not a very impactful change.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned the perception of this god being very strong because I was talking to a SMITE fan at a restaurant that I met recently, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm a solo laner, but man, Cucullin is just nuts." And I'm like, "Really?
He's struggling right now,
You still
yeah.
think so? Like it's kind of 2019, man. Like,
Time to
we're-
play Vamana.
So
seriously.
but now we do think Cucullin has a big chance to shine in 6-1.
That's true.
With that early
Yes.
aggression being a lot more important.
So even without
with
direct changes to him, we could see a big bump
Exactly.
from aggressive.
And that's one
style
thing
solo
that the
laner.
team will look at, even though it's not directly to a balance change. Although I'm presenting changes to the community and result to how balance affected them, that's not the only way we look at things in the balance team directly. We take a look
Yeah.
at all sorts of God's performance in all sorts of contexts.
We also have to care about map. We have to care about other balance changes we make. Counter picks being buffed can have a big impact. Like Vamana being able to walk through Odin Wall. We actually did look at Odin.
Yeah.
He's still good though.
He's still good.
Very
so
good.
but that's something that you try and look for those natural consequences and see what actually happened based off those natural consequences happening.
So
Pick Odin. He's good against Guan Yu, and Guan Yu's good right now.
that's
There you
it
go.
for our first
Dev
installment.
Insight. Yeah, let us know what you thought. Make
Yeah.
sure you give us your feedback. Hopefully, this gives you guys a better understanding of the inner workings, the inner machinations of the.
We
the
can probably
balance
get
team.
these posted in a text form.
Yep.
I'll talk to Isaiah if he was going to do it on a blog, or I can do it on my blog, just so you can look at them.
Yeah.
Oh man, perfect timing. My voice is like dying now.
Perfect.
so-
All right, we got to get
All right, let's
AJ
cut
out
it
of
to
here
the
so
next
he can get to his cold medicine. Let us know your feedback on the Dev Insight. We've got F. standing by with Hi-Res Cupcake and Titan Cupcake. Excuse me, I'm still working on that. Cupcake and Ovrin talking about some community stuff.
Thanks there, champ. Aggro holding it down. Balance section pretty cool this time around. But I've got my friends here. This is Michaela and this is Ovrin.
Hello.
Ready, set, go.
All right. We got a couple of community esports things to tell you guys about. We have the SMITE Combine starting this weekend. You can take any 5-man team, join our Discord, sign up, and hit the battleground for a chance at some tournament prizing and even a spot in the SML if you're good enough. And then next weekend, we're going to have the Combine running again, and we also have the SCL qualifiers starting. So if you're a console player and you think you have what it takes to make it as a pro, then you want to hop in there, sign up. We'll have sign-ups opening next weekend.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff. That's the road to pro. If you're trying to be a pro SMITE player or anything, that's the way you do it. And that's the esports side of things. What about community?
So from a community standpoint, Season 5 is ending. Season 6 is starting. We have it aimed for going live on Monday.
Monday?
Yes, Monday. So we've planned a end-of-season sale where everything kind of revolves around fives. So we've got 5 direct purchase skins that are 25% off. And then we have select chests that are also 5 squared % off. Do you see what I did there?
No, you got to do that.
5 squared?
I see what you did
5
there.
squared is 25. Okay, anyway. So, yeah, so we have that going on. And then we also have... We'll talk later. I'll tutor you.
We'll throw a chart. It's okay.
But then we also have all gods unlocked. So that means you can be trying out Arthur if you don't have the Ultimate God Pack and you wanted to try it out for a little bit. And then when Season 6 starts, you can go ahead and master Merlin and see how that goes and everything too. So yeah, and then from the Olympian standpoint, our Olympians, we've already gathered and we met together. They've already brought a lot of good things to the table. So if you want to reach out to any of the Olympians, let them know what you're thinking, how you're feeling. We've got Olympians for all the consoles, PCs, conquest, non-conquest. So find your person that represents you and let them know how you're feeling. We're going to try to have a meeting later this month to reconnect with them and see how we're doing. We have a Discord, so we're constantly talking with them. So anything that you have that you want us to know, you can go shoot it to your Olympians, and we're going to try to get them to kind of give us a couple handfuls of things that they think, after we give them the roadmap, they'll say, okay, this, and this is what the community really wants. So just make sure you're talking to your Olympians and let them know what matters to you.
Representation for the people.
Yes.
Makes sense. So we've got the Olympians going down, bunch of skins, and of course esports. Get involved. It's a lot of fun.
One last thing.
Oh, no.
So we also have an event going on this weekend where if you get 3 first wins of the day, so if you win, no matter what.
I won't, but okay.
You'll get an Enigma chest for that.
I thought it was all about 5s.
And back to you.
And then just faint.
Dehydrate.
Back to me, I guess. Good work, Michaela. That's better than any throw Tom has done in the last, 6 months or so.
You forgot their names!
I can literally hear you in my ear, Tom, and I did not forget anybody's name. I just got it wrong. Okay, thank you very much. We've time to go over some of the skins here on the Dev Insight show. For that, I've got Tina, of course, because what would be a skin segment without Tina here? We've got Chris and Tyler as well from the art team. Guys, I don't even want to ask you how you're doing because I want to learn more about Gadget Goblin Cupid as soon as possible. Who had this weird idea to turn this cute little baby with wings into an evil-looking goblin? What did he do?
I'm not
to
sure
you
where
guys?
that came from.
Yeah,
Someone got ulted by Cupid in lane too often. They were like, this dude's evil, and this is what I'm going to do to him. And this is kind of rude.
Cupid as a character is just a love goblin, so this just makes sense.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I can mess with that. I do like his goggles that he's got.
Yes.
Going on up there.
Yeah, it's kind of got that tinkerer kind of look.
Oh, look at those. Okay, so instead of wings, he's got little propellers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the rigging
he's like a
team
tech
put some
guy.
new bones in for that. So this is based off our V4, so it's our Dr. Madlove. It's like our base, but then, they put in some new bones. I think the animation team had fun with the little engine propeller back there.
Yeah, he looks awesome.
Yeah.
It's so funny, like, seeing the little Cupid portrait in the bottom left, and then you're like, oh, look at me. And then you look at your character, and he's green and has a mohawk, and you're like, oh, that's totally different than what I thought.
No, he's a rascal of a character.
Yeah.
He doesn't sound like original Cupid. Like he's definitely older.
Okay, like, not like creepy old, though, right? Just
No.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know.
Old in goblin years.
Right,
Yeah, old in
right.
goblin
And goblins
years.
could get pretty old. These are little, those are cool little
Oh,
hearts.
little health kits?
Yeah,
That's
little
cool.
health kits.
Ooh, that's awesome. This is, this is like when I first saw this, I was like, it has to be Cupid, but it's so different than all the other Cupid skins. But I'm really digging this. Is that an oil spill?
slick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Nice.
good. And it does speed your team up. They like slide along. They slide along that.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I like this idea that he kind of makes his own props and everything's very practical, the oil slick and his little gun and all that.
Wait, what
It's
is-
really cool.
They're little dynamite.
Yeah, sticks
oh,
of
that's
dynamite.
so cool.
Oh.
Okay, that is really, really awesome there. You know what? I'm sold now. I wasn't sure, but I'm about it now. I can mess with this.
He shoots little rockets too. Like if you slow down time. Like I was playing next to him yesterday, and he was just like pew-pewing the tower, and it's like little rockets coming at the tower. I'm like, wow, this is so
his
cool.
auto attacks are little tiny rockets?
Yeah, his auto attacks. Yeah.
Let's see if Pond.
Well, they're
can
actually
get
not
this.
really little. They're big.
Ooh, that is a big rocket, all right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Dude,
Wait,
that
I
is
think-
so
I
cool.
think
That's
that
the
one's
heart bomb.
heart bomb, yeah.
Yeah, that's the heart bomb right there that fires off. Oh, so it is it's just a bigger version of his auto attack rocket.
Wait, what's his auto? Pon, what's his auto?
You got it, Pond. There it is. That's the auto attack.
Uh-huh.
And then the heart bomb is just the bigger version of that. So he's got 2 different size rockets.
Whoa!
Dude, that is cool.
That is really cool.
That is awesome. It says here that he's zany and funny and likes to tinker on new projects.
Yes, yes, yes.
Do you know what he's working on right now, Tina? Like what his latest project is?
Well, he always likes to work on new projects that involve screwing up his teammates.
Oh, okay. By making the ground wet with oil.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
let's take a listen here to Gadget Goblin Cupid's voice pack.
That was explosive! Attack middle lane! Defend right lane! Yo-ho! You are something! No one can handle a rocket like me! Wait till you see what I've got in store for you! Hey, wait, hold this, will ya? Hey, so what's the difference between a human beard and a dwarven beard? The human beard ain't covered in pee! Oh, you think you're funny making goblin jokes? Well, soon you'll be gobbling my farts.
Okay.
It was supposed to be soon you'll be gobbling these nuts, but
why didn't we go with that one, Tina?
we thought it. I mean, I can change it back, but I just thought that. Okay, no.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
What I was going for
the
there-
actor did it, so it's in there. I just.
Here's
didn't-
what I was hoping how that interaction would go. I was hoping I'd say, why didn't we do that? And then you would say, because it was a little bit too inappropriate. And
No,
then
AJ liked it.
Oh, okay.
He actually. Everyone laughed.
Well, yeah, it's funny, but it doesn't mean that you can like say it all the time. you
Yeah,
know?
that's true. Well, he'll just gobble farts then.
Right. Also funny for what it's worth.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, I'm not upset about that. How about Star Commander Bologna? Hopefully no goblin jokes with this skin. This one is looking awesome though. She's a sci-fi veteran. That's what I've got
Yeah,
here.
these sci-fi
Yes, she
skins
is.
are really cool because it gives our team a chance to really have fun with materials, and I think especially on her weapons and her flag, there's some really awesome material work on this character.
Yeah, that's a great detail. The helmet is kind of glowing, kind of giving her a little bit of a glow.
Yeah, definitely has that kind of intergalactic space traveler kind of feel.
Yeah, it's got to have that like little visor so that she can breathe in outer space, but you don't want to be able to see it. You know, you just know it's kind of there.
Totally.
I feel like Bologna. I mean, everyone I'm sure plays favorites on the art team on gods they like to work on. I feel like Bologna's got to be up there for just about everybody because there's so many different things you can do. Or maybe a least favorite because of that. You got so many things you have to work on.
Yeah, for the tech art team, I mean, Bologna is one of those characters where she has 3 different weapon sets that have to go in. All of these things have to interact together. So we don't like working on her as much. But
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of art that goes into these too. Like you said, each weapon. So it kind of gives us a chance to almost create a little universe for each skin that she's operating in. You know? It's
Yeah.
really cool.
That swirl effect on the bludgeon is really awesome that she does. That is super cool. And the sound effects also A+.
I love how these effects turned out.
That is such a cool sound right there. Got a lightning space whip that she can use.
Yeah, I love this flag too. I love the effects and.
Oh yeah, what is that? What does that
the
say?
banner itself.
Yeah, what does a banner?
is that binary?
Oh, it is binary.
I'm not exactly sure what it
Well,
says
someone
though.
can find out.
Somebody should double check
Yeah.
that.
If that says anything
It's an
about
Easter
goblin
egg.
farts in binary, I'm done. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
You never know.
I never know, but I'm really hoping that's not the case. I'm sure someone will know exactly what that says.
Yeah, we'll have to get that checked out.
Yeah, that is. I'm now nervous about it now that I'm seeing it. The effects on the ground also really really awesome though during that kind of making a continuous update
Yeah,
while
like
it's there.
laser pulse almost.
Yeah, that is really cool. Let's take a listen to the voice pack here for Star Commander Bologna.
Attack!
Defend right lane. Defend the Titan. Excellent. They call me for special ops. You got this all on your own. Yeah. I'm willing to die for my cause. Are you? Looks like you're SOL. I didn't come here to find a girlfriend. I came here to fight. Unless you know someone who's single. If you're still alive by the end of this, meet me at the bar. It's on me.
All right, well, she likes to have fun once she's done on the battlefield.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can respect that about anybody. Definitely,
she's great.
definitely about that. Now, Star Commander Bologna and the Goblin Cupid skin are both part of the Legend of Camelot event and the Cornwall bundle. So make sure you're taking a look at that whenever the update drops. We also have a Deadly Desire Dodgy. This is one that I knew Tina would be on this show, and I was immediately nervous about.
Yeah.
Dodgy's a crowd favorite.
No
and
comment.
And a Tina favorite.
Yes. Okay, great. We can get right into it. This is part of the Valentine's
wait.
chest.
Yes. Which is available next week
For Valentine's Day.
for Valentine's Day.
That's right. So you can spend it with your favorite gods or goddesses in the battleground of Smite.
Yes.
Including Deadly Desire Dodgy.
I love the idea behind these like devil tails. I just think that's like clever use of that like devil tail trope. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, she's normally got the foxtails, right? So she needs as many devil tails as possible. She also has wings. This is the first Dodgy skin we've done that has wings.
Yeah, for sure. It takes a lot more work from the art team and the rigging teams to get that kind of thing to work, but it's so worth it when you see it in game. It's really cool.
They're definitely moving in a really cool way. That too. Ooh, I love the just like preview effect of where the cuts are going. I don't know what to call that exactly, but that looks really awesome.
Yeah, and I like the kind of red glowing, like the black glow around the red swipes. Like it's just got this really like abyssal kind of look to it, you know?
Right. It's really abyssal, cool. But it's also like maybe she's flirting with me. Like I don't really know. You know what I mean?
Maybe she's flirting, or maybe she just wants to pierce me in the heart with one of her tails.
Right. And maybe that's her version of flirting. You never really know. Dude, that powwow looks so cool.
That is intense.
So many spikes.
Dead people.
That is, I mean, getting pulled onto the powwow would hurt normally. Getting it pulled onto that powwow would really, really hurt.
Those are incredible death spikes.
Does it need that many? Like it's.
Yeah, dude, she's a torture lady.
That seems like an excessive amount of spikes to me.
Actually, she's a double torture lady because Dodgy's already a torture lady, and then you're gonna make her a succubus. She's like a double sex torture lady.
Don't.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
Thank you, Tina.
I think
You're welcome.
for that.
She looks so cool on top of the platform too. Like,
Yeah.
She's
That
just got this pose, you know.
That's definitely. I mean, the powwow is definitely always a spot of Dodgy where I'm like, okay, what cool thing did the art team come up with in order to get there? But this one looking very good. Let's take a listen to the voice pack here.
Attack. Defend middle lane. Ooh. Call me impressed. Wow, you're something. I'm very, very good. Silly mortal. I'm the master here. Can't handle these curves, darling. I don't have a cruel sense of humor. I'm just sadistic. I heard you like being tortured, so what are you doing later?
Awesome. Mostly
incredible.
Just be so glad that the camera is not out here during any of the voice pack listens because Tina is truly out of control.
Some eyebrows.
Yeah, some eyebrows.
I'm so glad you guys can't see me.
Motion. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm glad for that too.
Yeah, me too. Okay, let's get on to Archangel Chernobog, another skin in the Valentine's chest. This one, a little bit more heavenly, I would say, in a couple different ways. But this Chernobog is always so dark and mean and foreboding. This is really a different change of pace for Chernobog.
You could say that he is Bellowbog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is his opposite.
Oh, thank you. I didn't know that lore at all. That's cool. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
This is one that I get to work on, and I'm super excited about it. There was a lot of work that went into like the wings, getting like. Usually he has these demonic kind of bat wings.
Right.
And we had a lot of conversations around how to sell these as bird wings, like feathery, angelic. But we still kind of included allusions to Chernobog's kind of wing structure with the metal.
The golden stuff?
Yeah, the ornate metal filigree. It was a lot of fun to work on. So
that is so cool. This skin is even. I knew from the card art this skin was gonna be sick, but this is even better than I thought it might be.
That is really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the first time I'm seeing his effects too. They killed it. It's so cool.
That's really nice. It's a really nice departure from his dark kind of evil effects on his other suits.
Yeah, definitely. What oh, that alt looking awesome. Just takes to the sky, flies down. Ooh, did a little flip there as well.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
In style, right?
Yeah. That is really, really cool. His back animation still one of the best. The back animations have been A+ for a while now.
Yeah.
What Chris,
Whoa!
I was looking down. I missed it. What happened? Was it cool or?
It was just when he's zooming in from a really far distance. You know how you can see the shit that's around the flying thing. It was very cool looking.
Yeah, so close. Yeah, we almost got there. The last one. It was a good attempt. So, Chris, what are some of for Chernobog in particular, what are some of the bigger challenges on the tech side that you have to work through?
It mainly comes down to his attacks and his stim, because he uses an entirely different posture, which in the anim tree basically means it's like a different stance.
Okay.
Right? So he has different animations that play, and being able to blend those in and out of each other is probably what takes the most effort on him.
That's really cool. I mean, it's looking nice right now with the stim and everything here for Archangel Chernobog. We've been hearing those voice lines a lot, and I've got a feeling I'm going to really like this voice pack. Let's take a listen.
Attack middle lane. Defend right lane. Gank. Yes! Bravo! You fight with great vigor. I am the champion of light. You have an uphill battle ahead of you. Surrender now and I will look the other way. This is how God creating a cat went down. Create the most fluffy, adorable thing you can think of. Oh, and then add razor blades on its feet. Why did the angel lose her job? She had harp failure.
Tina, you're really liking that one.
It's so funny, you guys.
Well, I mean, that's a pretty serious condition, heart failure. That's kind of sad, don't you think?
Harp
failure.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's sad that you can't play the harp anymore.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
It's pretty serious.
Yeah, you're right.
Maybe you shouldn't be laughing about such a serious matter.
What's an angel without a harp?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, my goodness.
Don't be laughing at others.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Again, Archangel Chernobog there in that Valentine's chest bundle alongside Deadly Desire .g. That does it here on today's Dev Insight show. Thank you guys for joining us for some of the skins.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. And all that kind of stuff. Let us know your feedback on this Dev Insight. Again, we've got a whole new patch structure and the way that we're going to be rolling out these patches. So we want to make sure that everyone is feeling good about what we've got going on. So we'll be looking at Twitter and Reddit and the forums and all that kind of good stuff. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time. Go ahead and peach it.